23rd of April 2018, infamous Nazi recruiter and pug nationalist Count Dankula was finally sentenced for his heinous crimes against humanity. After a 2-year struggle for justice on behalf of the Jewish people, the Scottish justice system gave Dankula a sentence arguably far too lenient for such an extremist hate-monger. This modern-day Hitler was finally sentenced to a fine of £800. Apparently, the price of free speech is less than £1,000 a head. It looks like we could all be able to basically club together and just pay our way to being able to say and think whatever the fuck we like. Except that's not what's fucking happening. Things have moved quickly since Monday's sentencing, with Marcus outright refusing to pay the fine on principle. If anyone watched his stream on the Sunday, it's clear he could easily have paid it even just through the super chats, but true to his principles and with the integrity he's shown throughout the trial, he's made it clear what the plan of attack involves. He revealed in the video he made this week that he'd intended to outright refuse any sentence, essentially attempting to force the judge to send him to jail due to his refusal to accept that he had committed any crime. No one aside from Dankula, his lawyer, and Sargon of Akkad knew about this plan, so when Sue found out, she quite rightly went off her fucking head at him. Honestly, that woman must have the patience of a fucking saint, but a relationship with Marcus should be seen as an inspiration to other couples. They're two really lovely people, and their loyalty to each other throughout this makes all but the hardest hearts melt. Anyway, enough of the soppiness. With the sentencing done, many would imagine that Dankula would want to go quietly back to shitposts, tattoos, and posting his balls on Snapchat. Which he obviously will, let's face it. But in his video on the subject, he laid out an entirely different plan to what anyone, even the British legal system, could have possibly foreseen. Obviously, the process would be to appeal the fine and attempt to have the charge overturned. Maybe most people would use the same lawyer or shop around for a cheap specialist in the area, but not Dankula. As he said in a recent tweet, they really should have just left him alone. The plan was to raise £100,000 to hire the best lawyers in the country to fight the charges, but with a far broader scope than initially imagined when the trial began. The plan is, firstly, to overturn the charge, thus removing the precedent set by the arbitrary application of these so-called hate speech laws. That would be amazing and would, as Dankula says, avoid others having to go through the same defamation and slander that he has, as well as the legal costs to fight this nonsensical fucking charge. Where it hits harder, though, is in its aim to ultimately repeal the laws that Marcus was prosecuted under, thus preventing this sort of totalitarian speech and thought policing from occurring again, ever. As we see daily now on social media, the British police force appear to have been told by their superiors in the government to carry out their jobs based on feelings rather than facts. Whether an individual is offended should be inconsequential, especially when there's no intent to cause offence and no malice involved. It's made worse though when, as in the case of the girl from Liverpool charged with a hate crime for posting rap lyrics on Instagram, the person complaining is from a department within the police force solely fucking created to work on hate crimes, and so they're obviously and understandably biased since they want to keep their fucking job. Worse again, the complaint was an apparently anonymous screenshot sent to the police rather than an actual, real and proper, legally made complaint. So just like with Dankula, the police literally manufactured a victim. The bulk of police work these days seems to involve chasing down people online for expressing the wrong opinion or hurting someone's feelings with their mean words. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's no excuse for going after someone and hounding them. We've seen with a so-called liberal comedian like Omid Jalili and his harassment, as well as some rather creepy comments towards a lady who has survived cancer and who inspires others with her dark humour and honest commentary on Twitter. Laws already exist to prevent things like online stalking, persistent abuse, or the incitement of hatred, so we really don't need to add anything else to it. It's worked for centuries. Why in the name of fuck would you want to dick around with it now? Oh, I know why. I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but that's another subject for another time. Back to Dankula. A GoFundMe was launched to raise the funds, and within 24 hours the target had been met. Think about the implications of this. Within one day, £100,000 was raised to fight for free speech. People from all over the world donated because they believed in the right to offend, the right to make jokes, and the right to have context considered in a fucking courtroom when it's sometimes all that stands between them and a fucking prison sentence. People are aware of what's going on. I know it's easy to get sucked into the narrow realities of social media, but the real world presents a very different sort of landscape to the one we see online. We really do need to remind ourselves that a world exists outside of our screens, and it's a truer reflection of what's happening than what we see in our echo chambers. Yes, there are corrupted institutions that are playing identity politics in the hope of taking power so that their anti-meritocracy, anti-white, anti-male ideologies can be implemented. That can only happen if we let them. Our right to free speech is our most powerful and important weapon in this fight, and these fucks will not take that away. So the case of Count Dankula takes on a whole new level of significance. Not just legally, but socially and culturally, at a very deep level of our functioning. This sort of thing can and will figuratively wake people up to the reality that these laws could potentially bring if left unchecked. We cannot and will not allow them to remove our voices, our dissenting opinions, and respectfully made arguments against their baseless claims and insults. It will not fucking happen, because we, as a people, regardless of our colour or creed, will unite for a moment with this thing and put in motion something greater. Who knows what the coming months will actually bring in terms of real life change. What we can be confident of is that Marcus Meechan will conduct this entire process with transparency, posting all receipts to prove that the crowdfunded money was spent exactly as it was intended. If you look at the way the guy has conducted himself throughout the trial and the way in which he communicates as a person, he's a sincere man with integrity and has stayed true to his beliefs, fought his corner, and brought light to a shady area of our legal system. Since actions speak louder than words, obviously a wait-and-see attitude is the most responsible one to hold. But I have no doubt about the honesty with which Dankula will conduct himself in this. As it stands, though, we still need to police our own speech online for fear of quoting the wrong lyrics or saying a naughty word as the new police of vice and virtue roam our virtual streets, keeping the kids safe from burning themselves on those spicy memes. Anyway, praise Allah.